Let's explore how focus could make you less compassionate. There we go. That was an error. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. What could that suckiness look like? Since the Neolithic Revolution, the majority of civilizations have been conditioning the majority of their denizens to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. This collection of attributes could be described as religious patriarchy, whereas a minority, just a minority, choose to be the opposite. They choose to be flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. And this collection of attributes could be described as spiritual matriarchy. So how do the religious teach, no less practice meditation? They implore their students to actively focus and actively analyze. Simply put, the neural pathways responsible for such behavior can be found in the medial prefrontal cortex and the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. When we exhaust our prefrontal cortex, our amygdala gets triggered. Our amygdala is the seat of anxiety and aggression. So the great irony is that very few people wake up and say, I'm just not anxious and aggressive enough. I need to inconvenience myself and develop more anxiety and aggression. No, people want the opposite of anxiety. They want peace. People want to be the opposite of aggressive. They want to be loving. And so when oopsie, that was an accident. Let's see if I can put that back. There we go. And so when people accidentally exhaust the prefrontal cortex and trigger their amygdala, they're dissatisfied with their results. But then there's something called the sunk cost logical fallacy, where someone says, hey man, I've been indoctrinated into the system. I can't just turn my back on it. I'll just tweak it. And so they decide to focus on love and then analyze the benefits of love and perhaps the reasons for love and perhaps the detriments of not being loving. And the best that this can contrive is an analog of love, flaccid and worthless and weak. What is the antidote to this situation? Like a cat with his head stuck in a bag of Doritos, how do we back our way out? Glad you asked. We have one antidote with two phases. The first phase of the antidote is mindfulness. When we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we inadvertently access our sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, which has evolved to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice. And by the way, I think you'll agree this is the opposite of concentration. But it helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. That's splendid. But what are we to do with that which we notice? And that brings us to the second half of our antidote, meditation. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we inadvertently access our parasympathetic nervous system divided into the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord. Our parasympathetic nervous system supports both the physical relaxation as well as the mental release that helps us to let go of what we noticed during the previous inhalation. And all that's fine and dandy. But how can it help us? Simple. It can help this mindfulness that can notice our heightened anxiety and aggression, can help us release our heightened anxiety and aggression. The same mindfulness that could notice the effect of our anxiety and aggression has on our choices and our communication and our deeds can release that tyranny, that control, and give us more freedom. But wait, there's more. The same mindfulness and meditation can not only calm our amygdala, but it can stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus. This thing here that kind of looks like the letter C. This functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, the root of compassion and love. This is exactly why it has been taught by the late Tulku Thondup that the highest love is the uncontrived, spontaneous, and effortless side effect of playing with mindfulness and meditation. Why is this significant? Because 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path pertains to loving kindness. 50% of what it means to be enlightened pertains to loving kindness. We could think of loving kindness as a barometer. The more kind intentions we experience, the more kindly we communicate, the more kindly we conduct ourselves non-violently. The more our commerce is marked by both cooperation and kindness, the less we are controlled by focus and analysis, and the more we are healed by mindfulness and meditation. It is mindfulness and meditation that drive the Buddha's path of enlightenment. And so I look forward, and so this, my friends, is why focus and analysis undermine love, whereas mindfulness and meditation support it. This concludes our opening lesson. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday morning. Come, at last, let us meditate like a Jedi. After approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So together, let's chant. Whatever comes, may all beings let it come. Whatever stays, may all beings let it stay. Whatever goes, may all beings let it go. Welcome to the first quarter of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can multiply this by 4. When we multiply this by 4 sets, we wind up with 48 inhalations. We can keep track of these 4 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of this, our first quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Yes, this could seem a little daunting, but repetition is the mother of skill. Come to these live streams every 12 hours or so, and within a week or two, you could master Buddha's path. Now that we know what to do with our hands, what shall we do with our mind? Well, just like we explored during the opening lesson, during our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, thus facilitating noticing. And during our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, facilitating our release. Let us practice this together as a team right now. Having completed the first quarter of this morning's live stream, we come to the second quarter of mindful crease counting meditation. Now, you've already received the basic instruction on how to do this, unless you just came a second ago where my eyes were closed. If that's the case, let me know. Quick reminder, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. To keep track of the second fold, the second quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger. But one thing I'd like to elaborate on is that in the previous quarter, we only counted 4 sets on our left hand. This time, let's count 12 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sets of 12 inhalations each, for a total of 144 inhalations. So, working with the great knuckle of our right ring finger, could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. This is what we do with our fingers. What do we do with our mind? The most efficient way to practice mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, thus facilitating noticing. The most efficient way to practice meditation is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable FREEBIES during our exhalation, thus facilitating release. Welcome to the third quarter of mindful crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 12 sets, and you've got 144 inhalations. We could count those 12 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sets of 12 inhalations each. We could keep track of this, our third quarter, by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the heart region of our chest. Now that we know what to do with our fingers, let's review what to do with our mind. The most efficient way to practice mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation. This helps us to cooperate with our sympathetic nervous system that we might vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. But what are we to do with that which we notice? We meditate, and the most efficient way to do that is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation, thus cooperating with our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release, thus causing what we noticed during our previous inhalation to fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less permanent, and less defining. Come, let us practice together as a team right now. Good morning and welcome to the fourth quarter of this morning's, or I should say this early morning's, crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 12. Well, I guess maybe not. Maybe multiply this by 8. And you've got 96 inhalations. We could count those 8 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sets. Whoopsie, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each for a total of 96. To keep track of this, our fourth quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing this, we could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energy to coalesce at the crown region of our head. Now that we know what to do, oh yes, by the way, this can seem ungainly, but remember, repetition is the mother of skill. Come to these live streams once every 12 hours or so, and within a week or two, you could master the Buddha's Eightfold Path, which is enlightenment. Or I should say, which is, according to some, enlightenment. So, what is the most efficient way to practice mindfulness? When we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we inadvertently access the sympathetic nervous system, which supports us in vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly noticing mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Now, what are we to do with that which we notice? That brings us to meditation. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we inadvertently access the parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to support the physical relaxation and mental release necessary to release or to let go of that which we noticed in our inhalation, which in addition to these 6 categories on a larger order includes what we dread and what we desire. What we desire and what we dread, as well as a resistance to the absence of our desire and our resistance to the presence of what we dread. We are able to make peace with these, to recognize the presence of these phenomena without being controlled by them through the metaphoric magic of mindfulness and meditation. So together as a team, let us practice right now. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 or so hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.